2 edits, 1 camera, and 1 clear winner. And it might not be who you think. Welcome to Shooting at Raw. I am John Von Hesse, an award-winning photographer from Melbourne, Australia. And in today's video, we are looking at DxO PhotoLab 9 versus Adobe's Lightroom Classic. Okay, just before we get into the video, I just want to clarify something that happened in my last video, and it was a comment that was in one of the comments left by PW Fenton, and thank you very much for leaving that comment. It says, John, sure you know the difference between depth of field. It's a measure of focus range. You keep saying depth of field when what you are talking about is dynamic range. You know, light and dark. I do know the difference between dynamic range and depth of field. I have a confession. I suffer slightly from dyslexia. I sometimes get things muddled up as in my wording. So yes, I do know that dynamic range is all about light and dark, and that depth of field is about focus length. So PW Fenton, thank you very much for clearing that up. Now you're starting to get to know me and know a little bit about me. And that's why sometimes I get my wording a little bit muddled up sometimes too. I tend to go at 1,000,000 miles an hour, but you pointed that out in the video, and I didn't even realize until after you pointed that out and went back and looked into it, and I went, oh my God, you're so right. So thank you. Okay, while we are on confessions, I just want to be completely transparent also with this video, Lightroom versus PhotoLab 9. I do have an affiliation with DxO, and that's just because they approached me and I'm using their product now, and I find it absolutely fantastic. But I still use Lightroom Classic as well. And this video is to give a unbiased view on the pros and cons of both software packages. So without further ado, let's dive in, and we'll start straight in with PhotoLab 9. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to get the balance correct, bit of a play, bring up there, and I'm just going to go through it in my workflow. I'm trying to do it in a way that, so what I've done, I've selected the AI mask for Sky, and it does take a little bit to detect, which is interesting. It is a big program, and we are dealing with raw data. Okay, so looks like we've selected the sky. Let's have a look. All right, so just going to pull the sky down a little bit. Okay, so now we have control of that sky. I'm just going to bring it down to that moodiness of where it was. Bring the highlights. Still very much almost one color, but we'll get that texture out in a minute. Bring the blacks down. Bring the contrast up. That'll help. And I just have a play around here until I start to get it to where I want to start to see it. The micro contrast, now we're starting to get something happening. Those mid-tones up. You can see a couple of dust spots there. I'll fix those in a second. Back that contrast off just a touch. Bring that up a bit more. Take a couple of these dust spots off. That I think they were water. When this came through, this storm, it hit like about 100 miles an hour. It was physically being hit hard. Okay, so now I'm going to bring up another mask. I'm going to use a luminosity. Click on there, and it's going to select. What I have found now with that luminosity mask is that you can drag it from left to right, and it'll start to pick out some highlights. So right there, so you can see there that in the sky there, and a couple of these whites are all selected. So I want to bring those up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And then what I'm going to do is back the contrast off. But I will have a bit of a play trying to get the colors correct first. And I like to see what I'm doing. So the contrast stays in for now. And we're going to do another mask and do that again. Play over here. It's really dark, and see if I can start to bring that towards the darkness a bit. See what comes out of it. It might be too much of the foreground, and you can go from there. Okay, now back to that first mask, sky contrast. I'm going to bring that micro contrast down. You can really see though in this program, if I bring that right up, like have a look at that. Like you can't get that like that in too many programs. So now have a look at all my little spots. So now I can see them all. So I'm going to take them out. Does pay to wipe your lens when you are shooting seascapes, especially when the wind's blowing and it's blowing all the water up onto your lens. You really need to wipe that down. But the really great thing is with AI technology, it's really come a long way, and it really helps with a lot of fixing post problems. So just remember that when you are doing your editing, take your time and just go through it slowly, and you'll find that you'll end up with better results. And unfortunately, I'm trying to show you something quickly, but come up with the end result. So I'll edit all this up so that it ends up being a lot faster. It's quite incredible though. If you have a look at this raw photo, how green that ocean is. And man, it's really awesome how the color of the ocean is. Sometimes it looks really blue, sometimes it looks really green. Yeah, I love that about nature, how it changes. And I suppose that's why I do landscape photography, because we get to capture some beautiful moments in time. We are on sky. I am going to pull that micro contrast back now. Let's bring that up. I'm going to bring the blues into the sky. Not too much, not too much. Keep it the grays, but there we go. Ooh, not too much green either. It's ironic that in one of my raw photos, as it got darker, it got so blue that it was like, I physically need to pull out the blues. I don't want to put too much in, but pump some more blue into there. See, that's what I like to do sometimes is pump color in, but pull the saturation out. I don't know, it just tends to give it that little bit more mood. So I'm going to leave the sky there for now. I am going back into my AI mask select here. I'm going to try and select the ocean. Okay. Yep, there we go. Pull that down, start to get it looking. All right, now we're starting to get that color correct, that moodiness. Again, another mask, select over here. I am going to click on there, select that. Yep, good. Got that. I want to bring the right color into this because this is not the right color. It is. So that sand over there is normally very, very white, and then we have the yellow sort of down the bottom here. So I'm going to try and balance that, bring the greens out a little bit because there is a lot of green in it. Like I said, very sensitive. Darken it down. Still a bit green for my liking. Somewhere about there, I think. Okay, another mask. What we might do now is I might add an area. There we go. Gotcha. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. Now, we're going to bring the whole thing down, and this will start to... Now we're starting to get a little bit more of what we're seeing. So all of a sudden the sky is, now you can see that the sky is probably just a little overdone, and I can go back and correct all this. So and it just sometimes takes a little bit of tweaking here and there and just having a bit of a play around with it. Now I want to bring a little bit of the warmth out of the rocks because they are very, very rich in color. And you can see the white with the salt on them too. There we go. Now we're starting to see what they look like. So this mask over here is a little bright. I'm going to pull that down as well. You can see here that it's pull that down also. Oh, not too much, not too much, not too much. Just a little bit. Just not happy with that color. I think I'm going to have to do not luminosity. I might have to do hue. Click on hue. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to put a saturation and stuff in that because... a little bit there, and it's all subject to the eye. Remember to do is once you have finished editing your photo, just walk away, leave the room. Your eyes will have adjusted and gone, oh, I want more of that, and I want less of that, or and you'll come back and go, oh my God, what was I thinking? Yeah, so that's a real key thing too, is just give yourself some room, give yourself some time. So I'll edit this, go and have some dinner, come back, whoop, 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 and then go back and start to play with it again. Like I said, it's a little bit like surgery with this program. Very, very, you have to be very gentle. So the selective tones, I've found that they're really nice for gentle adjusting if you want to just gently bring things down. Am I happy with that? I'm not happy with it. But and like I said, I'm trying to show you something that I normally will spend I'll spend days, sometimes, spend a week editing a photo. People go, what? The results speak for themselves. You end up seeing something really beautiful, and then sometimes it takes time to recall that. And I'll play with little colors here and, bring out little green, a bit more of the green in here. I'll bring this sand up a little bit because it's still very flat. So things like that do take time. I'm going to bring that sky down a bit, and I think it's a little blue. I think that's the problem. Yeah, now I'm starting to like it. So you can see once you start to adjust the colors, how all of a sudden it now needs to be slightly darker because the ocean is really dark and that looks not quite right. Maybe there. Now, another mask. That's what I'm looking for. Control point. Ooh, little bit here. Bit there. Bit there. Okay. Now, what I want to do, I want to bring a little bit more green in. A little bit of green, pull out some of the yellow. Now we're starting to get a little bit more of what we're seeing. I'm going to pull the exposure down a little bit, ever so gently now. I'm still a bit bright over here, so let's put another spot adjustment over here, and we are going to pull the exposure down there because the eye is leading straight to that cliff face. So we've got to bring that down. I'd still like to bring a little bit of the greens up on the hill there on top because I haven't adjusted those yet. So what we might do, just a few little quick adjustments here. I think it's very, very close. I might just give it a little bit saturation, probably there. Bring the vibrance up a bit, and maybe just bring that exposure up a bit. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy there with that result. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to export that out, and then we might start in Lightroom and have a look how that compares to this photo, and then we'll put the photos then we'll put both photos together and have a look together and see how they turned out, and give the different scenarios between the two programs. Okay, so we have our library here, and we're going to develop the same photo, 2656 up here. And like I said, we're just going to, first thing we're going to do, a bit of contrast. Bring that up a bit. Highlights up a little bit. Shadows down. I do like the white slider in Lightroom. It really does punch up the, I don't know, it gives it that little touch of something that I just absolutely love. I'm going to get rid of these dust spots. Actually, what I'll do, same thing, I'm going to bring the contrast all the way up so that I can see the dust spots. Very croaky tonight, I apologise. Can't seem to find them. Now, I love the erase tool in Lightroom, the AI. It is really, really, it's come a long way, I must admit. It used to be hit and miss, but now it's definitely something that's great. All right, leave it there for now. All right, what we're going to do, same thing. I'm going to use a mask. We'll select sky just because I know how to do it quickly. Got it there. Bring it up, contrast down, highlights down. A little bit of blue in there. Okay, sky, done. What I'm going to do is another mask. I am going to use color range, and I love this tool, color range, because it really I can really quickly isolate colors. Bring that down, maybe not too much. Same thing. Color range again. I'm going to select these rocks. Hopefully it selects all of them. Yep, it has. Go for there. There, bring a little bit of warmth into those. You can see how I can quickly maneuver through Lightroom, just because, like I said, I'm so familiar with it and my workflow. But that's not to say that that's a better product because of that. That's just, I have a better understanding of it. And I think personally, they're both good products. So now we're going to select this one here. What I want to do, I'm going to use a brush. So I'm going to pull that to 0, feather, just brush it in a little bit. All right, I'll just have a look to see how that's looking. All right, now what we're going to do, we're going to pull some of that out. We're going to put some green in because this sand it's not white and it's not yellow and it's not. And then what I'll do is I'll bring that up and then I'll bring it down, if that makes sense. Okay, now I'm going to bring that exposure down to about there. What I want to do, I'm going to bring a bit of bling in it. Oh, no, not that one. Too much. Push it there. Bit of saturation. What I can do, go to the sky. I sometimes like to do in the sky even is select a section of it with the eyedropper. Really bring that, let's see, yep, so it's selected the highlights there, and then this is how I tend to just bring a little bit of contrast out in the clouds through the eyedropper. And I really like that about Lightroom, that I can isolate colours that way. So I'm going to leave that picture there, and I'm going to export this out of a Lightroom. I'll export it out there and we'll put them side by side. Okay, so I have both photos now side by side, and if we have a look here, you can see there is a slightly difference in colouring and stuff. Remember that I did these photos very quickly just for reference so that we could get a bit of a difference of the understanding of the two programs. You know, I would spend hours and hours and hours on these, and I've tried to put it into a 20-minute video. So, but if we have a look, be interesting to see which is Lightroom and which is PhotoLab 9. And don't cheat before I give you the answer. Put in the comments, left or right. Lightroom is left or Lightroom is in the right. Leave your comments and I'd like to hear. The answer is that Lightroom is on the left and PhotoLab 9 is on the right. Now, you can see that in PhotoLab 9, there is a lot more and sharpness. You can see here in the water that, you know, it's brought it out here. And in the sky, there is a lot more detail. What I do like about Lightroom Classic is that when I was using the color dropper, I can manipulate those colors slightly. So whereas here they're very white and I can't do that, whereas here I could warm them up a bit. So fundamental differences. You can see here I've got this quite sharp, and here it's just a little bit flatter. But, you know, overall, I think both results are very good. You can obviously see, you know, a lot more sharpness here and texture and color punch through, whereas, you know, here it dulls off a bit. But, you know, the water is close. We've probably got a little bit more texture through here in Lightroom, only because I was able to manipulate the colors a little bit. What I found is here, the AI tool, I probably needed to invert that. You can see here that it has not selected that, so that's all right. It happens in Lightroom too, don't get me wrong, and sometimes we have to invert it. And if you have a look across here on the horizon, it's a little bit soft there too, whereas on this horizon I think that is a little bit sharper. Could be wrong. My eyes have been looking at the screen for a little bit, so and like I said, when you've been looking at photos for hours and hours on end, your eyes start to play tricks on you, and you can end up looking at something and you end up either, you know, pumping more into it or less into it or whatever. You really need to walk away and come back in with a fresh set of eyes after 20 minutes, half an hour, and then go through. And that's why when I edit my photos, I take a long time, sometimes days. I might even leave this for a day, come back in. You know, I can see here on the PhotoLab 9 that I've missed a spot with, you can see there, and I think here it might slightly be there, I'm not sure, but like I said, my eyes are playing tricks on me now. So yeah, so that's the results of the two software programs, both equally good products. PhotoLab 9 does give me a lot more adjustments within the raw editing side of things. So now I'm actually going to talk to you about the differences of the program and where they both exceed and you know, the pros and cons. Okay, so the final wrap up with everything. Please make sure that you understand that this is my opinion and my opinion alone. So if you are looking at purchasing any of these products, please do your own research, okay? Like I said, you know, I'm giving my opinion of what I've found, and you may find some things differently. So do your own research and come to your own conclusion. I have an affiliation with DxO because I honestly believe their product is incredible. If you are looking at getting 15% off PhotoLab 9, John15, that'll click on the link below, type in the code John15, and that'll give you 15%. The final wrap up. So spending a good time with both DxO PhotoLab 9 and Lightroom Classic, this is what I have found. Starting with image quality, a DxO RAW engine is honestly in a league of its own. DeepPRIME XD pulls details and shadow information out of my Nikon Z7 files that Lightroom just doesn't quite match. The optic correction, color depth, the micro contrast, that's where PhotoLab really shines. But Lightroom also has its own strength too. Its ecosystem is incredibly polished. If you've got mobile syncing, full integration in Photoshop, it's fast, it connects, built for a busy workflow. So Lightroom is really good in that regard. And often one of the things that DxO PhotoLab doesn't do, stitching for panoramas, and that's where you know, either Lightroom or Photoshop for me is where I stitch all that together. And it's not because DxO doesn't want to do it. What I have been told is that because DxO's processes raw data, it's it would end up being a too big a file and wouldn't be able to stitch it. So I believe that's what they've told me. So, and then there's the workflow side of file management. PhotoLab works directly from your folders. Simple, no catalogs, no syncing headaches. Lightroom, on the other hand, use a catalog system that is more complex, but perfect if you're dealing with huge archives and want powerful search and tagging options. I do have a video on that with Lightroom Classic with the filing system, and if you want to look at that, check out my videos. I'll put the link in the description below, and you can have a look at that. That is a really great way to file your systems in catalogs and stuff like that. Now, pricing. DxO's PhotoLab 9 is a one-time purchase. You buy it, it's yours, and you can upgrade if you want. Lightroom's subscription model keeps it consistently updated, but you are tied into monthly fees. So here's the breakdown. PhotoLab 9, precision, image quality, and total ownership. Lightroom Classic, speed, connectivity, and versatility. Personally, I've used PhotoLab 9 to handle my raw files, and that gets me that perfect base for the images, and then I do finish it off in either Lightroom or Photoshop to get that color grading that I need. End of the day, it's not about which one's better, in my opinion. It's about which one fits your workflow and what's suited to you. If you're chasing ultimate image fidelity, DxO is hard to beat. If you live across lots and lots of different devices with workflows, then you'll love Adobe's ecosystem. And Lightroom Classic is still king of that when it comes to working across multiple ecosystems. Let me know below which team you're on, if you're a Team DxO or Team Lightroom. And if you have enjoyed this video, I did in my previous video do a same location, same time, 3 different days. If you haven't seen that video, go and check it out. You might enjoy it. it's quite interesting, the results of that too. Like I said, my name is John Von Hesse, an award-winning photographer from Melbourne, Australia. And like always, stay safe, keep shooting it raw, and be kind.